Welcome to Danish-InfoNews TV, your Danish English special report on anti-Semitism in Denmark. More than a year after Hamas's deadly attack in Israel, Danish Jews are facing rising anti-Semitism, growing insecurity, and daily persecutions, even from the conflict zone. In this special report, Danish-InfoNews TV examines the larger survey of Jewish life in Denmark in 5 decades, explores political responses at home, and investigates how the ongoing Middle East conflict continues to ripple across Europe, fueling fear, discrimination, and uncertainty. Now let's dive in 1 year after October 7th of 2023, rising anti-Semitism in Denmark. Aimed: ongoing Middle East conflict. A year after Hamas's bloody terrorist attack in Israel on October 7th of 2023, Danish Jews report growing insecurity in their daily lives, as the broader Middle East conflict shows no sign of resolution. A new report from the Danish Institute for Human Rights, the largest study of Jewish life in Denmark in 50 years, paints a stark picture. Based on responses from 465 people with Jewish backgrounds, 85% say their sense of insecurity has increased since the October attacks, while 39% reported experiencing anti-Semitism in the past year, ranging from verbal abuse to threats, harassment, or even violence. To cope with the heightened risk, many Danish Jews have adopted precautions. 58% have taken security measures at home, such as unlisted addresses or leaving names off mailboxes, while almost half feel they must conceal their identity in public or at work. Younger respondents are particularly affected, with nearly half saying they must hide their Jewish identity to be socially accepted. Unfortunately, the study shows that many Jews in Denmark experience anti-Semitism, said Pernille Boy Koch, National Director at the Institute for Human Rights. They change their behavior, conceal their identity, and instill security measures at home. These are serious findings. Institute Director Louise Holk stressed that the state has a duty to protect Jews from discrimination and called for government initiatives at workplaces and schools, as well as ongoing research into Jewish living conditions in Denmark. Understanding anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism is a form of discrimination, hatred, and prejudice directed at Jews. It can take many forms, ranging from personal basis and hateful speech to violent acts and systemic persecution. Some common expressions include stereotypes and prejudices, negative generalizations about Jews, often based on misunderstandings or historical falsehoods. Hateful speech, statements that demonize or demean Jews, often spreading conspiracy theories or blaming them for having too much power. Violence and vandalism, attacks on Jewish individuals or institutions, such as synagogues or cemeteries. Systemic persecution, historically seen in pogroms and culminating in the Holocaust, in which 6 million Jews were murdered by the Nazis. Anti-Semitism is not merely historical. It persists today, affecting communities worldwide, including in Denmark. Let's look at the political response in Denmark. Justice Minister Peter Hummelgaard, Social Democrats, called the findings deeply troubling and emphasized that combating anti-Semitism must remain a top priority. While punishments for hate crimes have been strengthened and educational initiatives reinforced, Hummelgaard acknowledged that more action is likely needed. It makes me truly angry that our Jewish compatriots should have to face harassment and insecurity in their daily lives, he said. Far too many Danes are unable to distinguish between the conflict in the Middle East and what they think our Jewish compatriots should be held accountable for. That is simply not acceptable. Those who equate Israel's military action with Danish Jews, he warned, harm their own cause. The Socialist People's Party, SF, has demanded that the government's action plan against anti-Semitism be updated. Karina Lorentzen, SF's legal spokesperson, described the situation as completely unacceptable. Secret addresses or no name on the mailbox. Concealed identity at work. These are unreasonable conditions that Jews in Denmark are forced to live under, she said. SF urges the Justice Minister to convene all parliamentary parties to negotiate a reversed action plan that includes initiatives for workplaces, schools, educational institutions, as well as increased security support for Jewish institutions. Policy and institutional responses. The Danish government has introduced several measures to combat antisemitism and protect Jewish communities. Hate crime legislation. Penalties for anti-Semitic acts and other hate crimes have been strengthened with harsher consequences. For offenses motivated by religious or ethnic hatred. Security support. Jewish institutions, including synagogues and schools, receive state funding for protective measures, such as surveillance systems and security personnel. Education programs. Schools are encouraged to teach about antisemitism, Holocaust history, and the consequences of prejudice. Despite these measures, many Jews in Denmark continue to feel unsafe, indicating gaps between policy and lived experience. Challenges include limited awareness of subtle or systemic antisemitism, reactive rather than preventative security measures, and inconsistent coordination between police, schools, municipalities, and Jewish communities. SF and other organizations advocate for a more comprehensive approach that includes proactive education, community engagement, and regular monitoring of antisemitism through surveys and reporting systems. A region on edge. The rise in antisemitism in Denmark is closely tied to the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. DR's Middle East correspondent, Pok Damsgaard, reports that war continues in Gaza, while the Israeli government has shifted focus to Hezbollah in Lebanon, and potential threats from Iran. Tens of thousands in Israel have demonstrated against Netanyahu to pressure him into a ceasefire to free hostages. But nothing has worked, not least because Netanyahu's main priority is his own political survival, Damsgaard said. She emphasizes the toll on the population across the region, whether in Israel, the West Bank, Gaza, Egypt, Jordan, Yemen, or Lebanon. The fatigue is overwhelming. I feel we were starting into an abyss where no one can see the bottom anymore. Despite heavy losses, Hamas remains active, and Israel's stated war aims have not been fully achieved. The big unanswered questions remain. What is the plan for Gaza after the war? How can Israel secure a safer future for itself and for the Palestinians? Without long-term planning, Israel does not necessarily become a safer place to live, Damsgaard said. The uncertain regional situation feeds tensions abroad. For Danish Jews, the conflict heightens fear, influences public perception, and exacerbates antisemitism, linking global events directly to life in Denmark. Recommendations and actionable measures. To effectively combat antisemitism in Denmark and ensure Jewish communities can live safely and openly, the following measures are recommended. Strengthen legal protections. Consistently enforce hate crime laws, including online threats and harassment. Regularly review penalties to address emerging forms of antisemitism. Enhance security for Jewish communities. Maintain funding for security at synagogues, schools, and community centers. Develop standardized protection in collaboration with authorities and Jewish organizations. Emphasize protective measures rather than reactive responses. Education and awareness programs. Integrate education on antisemitism, Holocaust history, and multicultural respect in schools. Train teachers, police, and public servants to recognize and address antisemitism. Promote interfaith and intercultural initiatives to build understanding. Monitor and research. Conduct regular surveys to track anti-Semitic incidents and experiences. Publicly report findings to inform policy, education, and community planning. Use data to identify high-risk areas and vulnerable populations. Foster political and community cooperation. Convene parliamentary parties, municipalities, and Jewish organizations to coordinate action plans. Promote collaboration between government, schools, law enforcement, and civil society. Encourage community-led initiatives to empower Jewish and educate the broader population. Respond to regional influences. Recognize links between Middle East conflicts and anti-Semitism in Denmark. Develop public messaging that differentiates foreign conflicts from the rights and safety of local Jewish communities. Counter misinformation and conspiracy theories fueling prejudice. Now let's conclude. A year after October 7th of 2023 attack, the combination of rising anti-Semitism in Denmark, political attention, and ongoing Middle East conflicts underscores the urgent need for sustained action. Survey shows that Jewish communities are taking precautions that affect daily life, revealing a gap between policy and lived experience. By strengthening legal protections, improving security, expanding education, monitoring trends, and fostering political and community cooperation, Denmark can better protect its Jewish citizens, uphold human rights, and promote social cohesion. The fight against anti-Semitism is not only a matter of justice for Jewish communities. It is a measure of the resilience and inclusivity of the Danish society as a whole. As Danish Jewish navigate these challenges, the call for stronger protection and societal awareness grows louder. From the survey findings to political debates and the regional instability in the Middle East, this special report highlights how global events can directly impact life in Denmark. Danish-InfoNews TV will continue to follow developments, providing in-depth coverage on anti-Semitism, community safety, and efforts to build understanding and resilience in uncertain times.